Yep, I got you. Okay, now one second.
Okay, cool.
Real quick, 1 second. Okay. Welcome in, Ian.
What is up?
Thank you so much for doing this.
Yeah, so wild. I was just in the chat at the right time to call out that
Dude, that's
I
how it
knew a
works,
couple
though.
things about EMDR.
That's how it works. That's how I got to be a camera operator for Hassan for one day, and the rest is history.
Yeah, some things just happen for a reason, I suppose.
Yeah, so well, first off, let me just say again, thank you so much for doing this for us. And
Yeah.
I want to give you an opportunity to introduce yourself to the chat and let people know what what are you about? What are your things?
Yeah. What's up, chat? Don't go too hard on me. This is my first time on the stream. My name's Ian. I'm an LMHC, which means I'm a licensed mental health counselor. I live in central Iowa, and so just north of Brett, I think. Are you chilling in Kansas City?
Yep.
All right. So, yep, I'm in central Iowa in the Des Moines area. I see clients for a living. I do therapy. I sit in a private practice and just see people, sometimes pro bono. It's been amazing. See people with all sorts of different beliefs, backgrounds. It's been extremely rewarding so far. So couldn't be doing anything better subjectively. So
That's awesome. So can you talk about how
yeah.
your work has either like how's your work influenced your political identity and maybe like vice versa as well?
Yeah. So for me, like politics and therapy are really intersectional. So it's kind of hard to separate them. I mean, politics feed into everything. So when you see someone that comes in with like a presentation, there's always a political background to the person. There's always socioeconomic identity. There's so many things that many people wouldn't consider. A lot of, I would say, like an older generation of therapists might not consider, especially since the practice of psychotherapy was invented by white men, typically white men of high socioeconomic background. So it's a lot of just character trait stuff of blaming things on people's character. A lot of libertarian free will views of people's decision making, but everyone lives in the context of the time and the place in which they live. So politics obviously are going to show up on someone's identity as they come into the office. When I was coming up through college, actually, I was raised in pretty suburban Iowa. Wasn't the richest kid in my school, but definitely a well-off school. Probably like we were known for being well-off. And I was like super right-wing, actually, like growing up through high school, like you are defined by your identity and otherizing people.
Mm-hmm.
And it was actually like in college that I actually had like a near-death experience. I like cracked my chin on the ground and got a brain hemorrhage and like almost died. And like it almost unlocked something in me. So I'm kind of glad I hit my head. It's a funny story, but there was a really cool class I took in college that made me switch my major to psychology, and it was cultural anthropology. And I learned about a lot of things I didn't learn about in high school. So a lot of the ways that the global South is treated, hearing interviews first person of people that experienced like Contras in Nicaragua, just a lot of South American people that went through firsthand trauma, torture that was directly at the hands of the United States. And all of a sudden I started thinking that we might be the bad guys in the
Yeah.
situation.
And you had
So
recently
that was like
had
my,
the sense knocked into you.
yes. I found that like I was grown up in a context of just emotional deadness. Like it's so common for emotions to be thrown under the rug, especially if you grow up in the Midwest. I'm sure it's like that all over. Like
Yeah.
there's just this understanding that you should be able to process your own feelings. You shouldn't need anybody else for that. So if I had a hard day, it wasn't like you can come home and explain it to your parents because, I mean, as a man, you're a pussy, one, and like growing up, you should have everything you need. So why would you experience depression? Uh, and a lot of that is just um, projected into like racism, bigotry towards others. So
Yeah.
when I see a lot of people that come into my office and they are right wing, I almost know immediately that they have very deep down shame about feeling worthless, about not being seen. So you just project that as bigotry, hatred, otherizing. And uh, that's like what fed into my political view. It's just a lot of historical context goes into people's felt sense of shame, worthlessness.
Yeah, I think it's also like isolation. Right? I think you nailed it with like people are expected to like be able to navigate these things. I think especially for men, this is a big problem. Although it's not exclusively for men, but like I think masculinity and just like the inability to like get past our ego and like ask for leads to like a lot of issues in our world. I wish we could fix.
Oh yeah. The kind of like a modern take with the digitization of like trauma, violence, otherizing. Like if you feel otherized and you're a young adult, no matter your background, you can find ways to like funnel your projection precisely the way that you want. So I know for me, when I was like 14, it was 4chan, and that's like
Yikes.
just an immediate funnel into right wing propaganda. Just you become, I don't know, such a very specific type of person that I think that like everyone that was there at the same time I was probably shared. But
Mm-hmm.
that's just if you if you don't understand the way that people experience shame and trauma and how to heal from that, then you will find yourself there no matter who you are. So it's really good to be aware and conscious of what's going on.
Yeah. So I want to kind of frame what we're gonna do tonight. So we have you're a licensed therapist, and do you have like a specialization in EMDR, or is it just like one of the many tools that you use in your practice?
It's one of the many tools in my toolbox. I got trained in EMDR. It's like a 5-day intensive that every EMDR therapist does. I'm not like a specialist. I don't go like from state to state training other people, but I'm trained to use it. I do use it for trauma. It works really well. It's evidence based. I don't know if I would say I'm a specialist. I suppose I could,
Sure.
because I do use it a lot, but just one of the many tools in a therapist toolbox.
Yeah. So can you talk about? So I wanted to do this because I feel like just being on the internet, being in America, being somebody who has compassion and love for other human beings is like this is a rough place to be right now and a rough time to be here. And specifically for people, I would hope in my audience who are getting a little bit more involved and maybe doing rapid responses and I personally have definitely felt that like after a really busy day in rapid response or even like a few weeks where or like a week where I'm going on multiple like calls and even just like the anticipation of trauma or like the anticipation of a confrontation um like actually like takes its toll. I can feel it taking a toll on me. And so in what ways can like EMDR help with that? And what is EMDR even?
Yeah. So EMDR stands for eye movement, desensitization and reprocessing. Let's see. Yeah, I was caught up in your story because it's like anticipatory trauma, anticipatory like hypervigilance. Like when I see first responders, that's typically what they experience. I don't see any current cops, but I see a lot of cops that are regretful of a lot of the things that they've done. But just a little aside. But dealing with the anticipatory trauma is something that EMDR can do because it's really helping with the feelings that are coming up. So as you're like walking into a situation, you might be kind of deadened to the trauma that you're walking into, but the hypervigilance is actually there to protect you. So it's something that you wouldn't usually come onto in your normal life, but because it's becoming more and more common, your body is trying to get you to stop doing the thing that you're doing. And we need people that are in rapid response because boots on the ground right now is extremely important.
Mm-hmm.
So it's trying to listen to your body with EMDR, desensitize you to the feeling of unsafety and try to stay conscious in that feeling, basically flush the hypervigilance out of your body by using techniques in EMDR. So
Interesting.
uh,
So what,
maybe
like,
just
is it
run through to what?
something
Go
you
ahead.
do after a traumatic experience, or like is it something you might do like weekly? Like when would somebody do EMDR?
EMDR, I usually see people that have a traumatic background, just being honest, but you can do it at any stage of experiencing trauma. The core tenets of EMDR is to try to replace a non-adaptive view, so like a core belief about yourself that's given to you via trauma, usually like early on in your life. So most of the people like they've experienced like early childhood abuse, but this could also be like complex political trauma. So like you're raised without like access to food or healthcare, political violence like that, and then you might have a negative core belief that you're not even conscious of. That might be I'm unsafe or I'm worthless is like a very common one. So if you're walking to like a rapid response situation, there might be a feeling in your body that I'm unsafe because of the things that I've seen, because of the situations I've been involved in. And that feeling that you're unsafe might not be true or adaptive for the situation. So it could stop people from doing good work. You know, if everyone felt like that and they were like like a medic or something, then it might stop them from going out and doing the work they need to do. So you're replacing that view of like I am unsafe with a I'm responsible, I'm safe in my own body, and desensitizing yourself to the situation and reprocessing using an adaptive belief. You're basically replacing the feeling in your brain. So when you are in that moment where you feel unsafe, the thought then is I am responsible for my own body. I can keep myself safe in this situation. And it doesn't become like, ooh, I am unsafe. I need to run. I need to be hyper vigilant.
Yeah, because I mean, like I'm not gonna lie, I see it in Kansas City, and I think it's probably like true everywhere. But like burnout is really really high in this work, especially for rapid responders, especially for like dispatchers, like people who are like routinely at the front lines and like interacting with the trauma that the world is right now. Um,
Hmm.
yeah, burnout's really real. People retract and they don't, they disinvest from the movement.
Yeah. My first like situation was I worked in a shelter and observed a lot of like socioeconomic trauma, like firsthand, working with adolescents, kids that were going through. I mean, basically, what I see is like school to prison pipeline. Had parents that had substance use issues, that had financial stressors, and they couldn't care properly for their kids. And like you had kids in there that were like, I mean, they're trying to kill you. They are like active threats against you and their and themselves and each other, and you have to navigate that situation. And what you realize is like this is not the fault of children at all. These kids are slipping through cracks. They're going to
Mm,
grow up and then like people are going to blame them when really like their body is just trying to protect them. So when you're going through a situation like rapid response, your body's trying to protect you by keeping you out of the situation. But the thing is that like in this work, if you want to be a leftist, if you want to do something about it, you will have to enter into situations that might be traumatic. So something like EMDR and not just EMDR, but any therapy can prepare you and help to flush this stuff out of your system, because what you don't want is to like become deadened to it. You want to be in a place where you're like functioning optimally. You're not burning out because you're feeling too much of it, but you aren't deadened to the trauma that you're seeing around you. And you continue to have empathy for the victims. So you see a lot of people becoming deadened, unfortunately.
Yeah, totally. I think that's really important too, is like, how do we continue this work? And then also like continue to center the people being like targeted, right? Continue to show up with empathy, with compassion, and, you know, not let this like the trauma like build up to a point where you know, you have a freak out, or have a moment where, you know, what you're doing is making everybody less safe, and you're like escalating a situation that doesn't need to be escalated, or you know.
Oh yeah. Yep. Definitely.
Okay,
And
so
everybody always has their own ideas of what will help them. So I just want to say that like everyone's body needs individual care. So like as we go into like a group experience, I want everyone to know that what works for us on stream or what comes up on stream might not be what comes up for you in person. We all have different histories. We all have different backgrounds. I want to give respect to that it's not a one size fits all thing. That's why like therapists typically don't want to do like therapy streams. I have my own thoughts on Dr. K, but people don't want to do therapy streams because it needs to be individualized, right? So this is just a taste, but I promote therapy to everyone. I might be a little biased, but it can
no, I feel
help.
that, and I think it's okay to like
Yeah.
it's good to like make that disclaimer too, because you know, it doesn't mean that you're broken if this doesn't help you. It doesn't mean like, you know, that there's anything wrong, or you know. And these are just like, we're hoping, I think my goal with this was to kind of give chatters and give people who are you know, doing this work like just some exposure to the tools that are available, and like maybe some like real simple like movements, or like, you know, simple like exercises that they can do to improve themselves. Also, we just got a raid from Drummond Marvin. Thank you so much for the raid. Appreciate you.
Shout out.
Yeah.
Welcome, Raiders.
So anyway,
Welcome to therapy.
Is there any kind of a like introduction that you want to do to the thing we're doing?
Sure. Again, I'll have to like really kind of dumb it down and shorten it, obviously, but most people they're interested in EMDR because it does have like a physical component. It has a theory about bilateral stimulation, like eye movements. So when people think of EMDR, they typically think of like waving your eyes back and forth, which can definitely be a part of it, but stimulation that's bilateral across the center of your body. So there's a really good book called Tapping In, about bilateral tapping. It's literally like butterfly hugs and tapping your shoulders. So you might see people do that. And it's really a grounding exercise and activating both hemispheres of your brain. And that's the theory behind it, is that you can activate both hemispheres of your brain to really install those new beliefs. So it can desensitize you and it can install the new beliefs once you do the bilateral stimulation. So
interesting.
But
so it's like,
just,
is it like not, is it in any way related to hypnosis?
yeah, I think that's what a lot of people think, because it looks like hypnosis. It's not really directed. I don't think it has its fundamental. It's not foundationally like guided through hypnosis. It's not the same thing.
Okay.
It's actually like the founder of EMDR just found that it was easier to process trauma, like while she was making saccadic, I think it's called saccadic eye movements. So when your eyes do like normal scans of your environment, it can make you more aware and grounded of what's happening around you. It also happens during REM sleep. You make saccadic eye movements during REM sleep. And a lot of people think that's like super woo-woo, which is fine. And like everyone's entitled to their own opinion. And like I have my own opinion on it too. But what I think is really important is like the exposure to the trauma in a safe environment. So you're coming to therapy, you're doing something physical to ground yourself, you're exposing yourself mentally to that traumatic memory. You're keeping one foot in the past and one foot in the present. So you know that you're safe in the counseling environment. So you're experiencing it, you're giving yourself a little bit of exposure, coming back to the present, breathing it through, knowing that your body's okay and safe, and then stepping back in. And all it is trying to do is every time you step back into the trauma, you're just trying to make it a little bit less disturbing every time until it's gone. And then when the actual trauma is coming up, you'll find that you're less hypervigilant. There's a lot of research to support that. So no matter
Wow.
whether it's EMDR or whatever therapy that you're using, that's trauma informed, then you will get that result. It's actually kind of, I've had some like really huge breakthroughs with clients. It's actually, and I'm not like a woo woo guy. A lot of people like break down. It is like life changing.
Yeah. Yeah. Wow. Okay. So when we're doing these, we're going to be doing an exercise together.
Yeah.
And with the chat, hopefully. And then when we're doing this, is there any instructions that you want to share, or like you said, we should kind of be like thinking about like a traumatic moment, or what, how does that work?
Yeah. So for the purpose of like our little demo, everyone in the chat, if you wanted to follow along, and you, Brett. So like when you're doing this, I want everyone in chat to like, if you want to follow along, don't pick something that's going to like send you over the edge. Please don't think of like a moment of trauma in your life that you feel like you can't ground yourself once you go back there. I'll just give that little disclaimer. I'm going to be doing the same thing I did like when I practiced learning EMDR back in the day. So there's a scale of how disturbing a thought is, and it's just 1 to 10. So like 10 means like you're off the edge. It's so disturbing. You cannot go there. It's going to make you have like a panic attack, totally send you to the point where you feel like you can't ground yourself. And we're trying to pick something that's like a 5. So like a 5 might be like, I'm really anxious about going to work. Like I was kind of anxious at the idea of coming to the call, but I'm here now and I'm grounding myself. Right.
Doing great.
So when you're picking something to focus on, just make sure that it's not like the worst trauma you've ever experienced. Right. So when you have that in your mind, we're trying to first set up a history. So we're figuring out like your whole life story. This is like the things that we would normally do in therapy. Then once we're getting to that point, we're trying to find something that's like not that traumatic for the purposes of this, but might have like a core negative belief attached. So like, for example, I'm nervous about coming to the call because I don't want to feel stupid. And that might feed into a core belief that like I am worthless. Right. So Brett, if you want to take a moment to think about it, what might be something that's a little bit disturbing, but you feel like you can work through like here with us. The rest of the chat can do it too.
You may say it.
Sure.
I had a lot of like anxiety and like mania, almost, or borderline mania, like late or like middle of last year. And I think it's still there, about just like state repression, just like the thought of my door being busted in for the work that we're doing, or like people around me being targeted or something like that. So sometimes it can be like pretty paranoia, and like, just like bring up a lot of like hypervigilance and like nasty thoughts and stuff. And
something you're not the only one. I have clients that experience that as well. So, which is a really funny thing. I mean, the normal reaction would just be like, it's not going to happen to you. Get over it. Right. So when you think about that, when you hold that in your mind and that thought, and you kind of play that happening to you, what's the worst part about that thought?
I think that I'm like powerless to stop it. It's like a lack of safety that comes, I think, from a lack of power. Like that I can't, there's nothing I can do to like, in the face of the federal government, like,
Absolutely.
I'll just be like dropped in a cage and tortured or something.
Yeah. And if I don't talk politically, it's because like I'm speaking as a therapist. I would love to have a talk about just politics related to like leftism, but yeah, there's definitely like a global sense of powerlessness against like, or a countrywide sense of powerlessness. So that's actually a great core negative belief, is like, I am powerless. I have no control about what happens to my body. So when you're thinking about that and holding it into your mind, is there an adaptive belief that you would rather feel while you're running that through your mind?
I would rather ground myself in the reality, which is that we're building networks that will protect each other, and that just like I show up for people I don't know, people will show up for me, and that, like, community keeps us safe, and that we are safe, have safety in community.
Yeah. In that moment, you can rely on your community. You have networks of protection. You actually aren't unsafe. You have responsibility and autonomy over your body. So that'd be a
Yeah.
great thing to be. Wouldn't it be great if every time that you were hypervigilant, instead you felt like you had your community at your back, felt autonomous, you're in control? So the goal of EMDR is just to shift the I am unsafe to the I am safe. So actually, I'll throw you a link.
Okay. In the Discord.
Yeah. Yes, sir. Let's see if this works. I'd be really.
Okay. I got the link.
All right. What do you see on your screen when it pops up?
I see a dot. Hold on.
Awesome.
Let me bring it up, and then before we do that, let me bring you up too. I gotta switch this.
Oh, it's all good. You don't necessarily have to see me on the screen, but maybe that's just me trying to hide.
No, people want to see you.
Okay.
But where are you?
Shout out chat. Thanks. I don't know where I'm at.
Oh, there we go. Okay, we're good.
Here I am. Also, chat, I'm not looking at chat. I'm not looking at you guys. I
That's probably
apologize.
good, but
you
they
guys
love
would have
you.
sent me off the edge.
People
Okay,
think we're
good.
twins.
My yeah, I thought like I was a fat-headed version of you. That's what my wife said. I'm just kidding. She didn't say that. I told that to my wife.
Okay, so we have a blue dot on a screen.
You have a blue dot on the screen, so we're not going to do anything with that yet. I'm just going to make you repeat what you said earlier. So,
okay.
We're thinking of like something with we call it a SUD score. It's a subjective unit of disturbance. We got to like, I feel like all these acronyms it's all marketing. Okay. Like them trying to make money teaching us this stuff. Like, okay. And I did have to pay a good sum of money to get trained in this, by the way. I would love to talk about that more, but yes, a SUD score. Somewhere like, I'm assuming between like 5 of how disturbing it is when you think about it.
Yeah.
Okay. It's about a 5.
Maybe less. I mean, I'm like, it's like anxiety over something that's hasn't happened. I think.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know what I mean?
Yeah. It's definitely not like it's not the worst thing that you could be traumatized about, but it's definitely like anticipatory.
Yeah.
Background
People's doors
paranoia.
are being broken down. Like
They
yeah.
are.
I'm not there
fucked.
yet. Yeah.
Yeah, it's definitely a real thing.
Mm-hmm.
I could definitely see, a lot of people that I see here, they are at a 10 with that cognition. So, so we're somewhere like a 4. And when talk about what was the core belief that we had attached to that?
Powerlessness.
Mm-hmm. So then we have like it's called what is it? Validity of the cognition. So it's between a 0 and a 7. So how true does that feel between 0 and 7 that you are powerless?
Between 0 and 7?
Mm-hmm.
4?
A 4.
I don't know. Yeah, maybe.
Yeah. So then when you think of the adaptive thought, what was the adaptive thought that we talked about?
That my community's got my back, and that people would defend. Like we aren't powerless to it, and that we can fight back.
Absolutely. And that is true. So, but how true does that feel to you when you think about the traumatic thought? 0 to 7.
7.
All right, cool. So one half of it is already done because
Okay.
the goal is to get that first thought to a 0 and the second thought to a 7 and bring down your disturbance to a 1 or a
maybe
0.
I'm
Right?
maybe I'm like overcompensating. Maybe it's actually, maybe I don't fully believe. Maybe I could believe it more. Like a 5. Let's say 5.
I mean, you got to believe it, right? You're the
Yeah,
streamer.
exactly. That's
Why we
it.
look to you.
That is literally it. Is I'm like, no, there's
Yeah.
no other. I can't believe anything else. I'm like, I force myself to believe it, right?
Yeah. I mean, that's why we look to you, right?
Yeah.
Hopefully that's why chat looks to you. It's because you got to be confident in it. If you don't believe it, then we don't really have anything. But anyway, so we're looking at the blue dot on screen, right?
Okay.
So, I mean, normally I would say like sit straight up in your chair with your feet on the ground and try to really ground yourself. Usually we would do like a body scan meditation. So I would ask to like imagine a horizontal line moving through your body, and I would ask you what you're feeling in your body.
Okay.
That usually takes me like 5 minutes, so we'll skip it a little bit, but the somatic aspect of the trauma and where it lives in your body is an important part of EMDR, because we might target, like, a lot of people's trauma lives in their chest. It might live in their hands. It might live in their neck, depending on what kind of trauma they have. So it's important to focus on where it feels like you're storing that in your body, because between these bilateral stimulations, we're going to breathe that out. I always ask people, take that, if it lives in your chest, really fill your lungs with air and breathe out that trauma. And sometimes I ask people, what color is the trauma? If you think about those bad things that happen, I mean, a lot of people, it's red, black, but it can be any color. And I just ask, what is a healing color? It's called a light stream meditation. We have a healing color entering your body and it's flushing out the traumatic color. So a lot of times it's blue light flushing out red light, and we're just breathing out the red, filling our lungs with blue. So anyway, that's a little quick skip through. Okay, so if you're sitting up in your chair and looking at your screen at the blue dot, I want you to hold in your mind that disturbing thought of someone's kicking down my door and I'm powerless, okay? And just focus on the dot as it moves across the screen. You ready?
Ready.
All right, let's go.
Kind of following it.
Mm-hmm. Sorry, it's going to take like 20 seconds.
No, you can keep doing it. Just trying to fill the dead air.
There you go. So, yeah, sorry. And usually if someone would like start talking, I would stop and restart, but it's all good.
You can restart.
It's for
it.
the
Do it.
stream.
No, I need to sit in the discomfort of the dead air. Let's do it.
Yeah.
Chat, do it with me. Do it
actually,
with me.
Before we restart it, did that feel too fast, too slow? Were you able to track the dot?
I was following it. Yeah, I could track it.
Okay, good. All right. My book says that I'm supposed to go as fast as you can track, right?
Yeah, I could track it.
I don't know. I don't know how important that is. I do it with my clients and they're like, yeah, it's always good. They never ask me to go faster, but all right. You ready?
Mm-hmm.
It will be like, I won't tell you how long it is because I don't want you to be counting. I want you to be thinking about the trauma.
Yeah, I'll focus. I'll lock in.
All right. Lock in. Lock in, chat. Come on. All right. 3, 2, 1. All right. What came up for you? And this is free association, so it is like I do ask just openly what came up for you.
I'm not. I don't feel like much came up for. But maybe I think
Yeah.
maybe the streaming element of this is taking up too much of my.
That's exactly right. That's why it's so hard to do it like
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
publicly or
yeah,
on
yeah.
stream. Yeah. So hopefully like chat, if you're thinking of something that's like a 5 or a 6, usually what would happen is like you're there, you feel safe with your therapist, you're grounded. You might feel feelings or other memories that come up. If it's something that's extremely traumatic, if we're working on like a 10 out of 10, I don't let thoughts leave the actual experience. So it would be called like EMD without the R. So it would be if you think about like, oh, this reminds me of another moment in my childhood, I would just gently pull us back to let's think about the experience now. Like you're having trouble being like a EMT. Let's focus on being an EMT because sometimes people might have like an extremely traumatic memory that connects back that will send them over the edge. So whatever comes up for you, it's okay just to have it come up non-judgmentally. And we just continue doing this over and over and just bringing that SUD score down. So want to keep doing it?
Yeah, I can do one more.
All right.
And I'll try to really focus. So I'm trying to think about like I'm trying to think about the like paranoia and like when I'm in those moments of like mania, like how does it feel? Just try to bring myself back to like those periods where I was like incredibly like paranoid and like really stressing about this.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it's really hard. It's really hard when you're like actively streaming and chat's popping up, right?
It is, yeah, but it's okay.
Much easier
I'll
in like
lock
a
in.
very silent room. It's all good. Let's lock in. Okay, so 1 foot in the past, really locking in and focusing in on that moment. The feds are knocking in your door. You're there, you feel powerless. Okay, you ready? All right. Anything come up for you?
Um, yeah, I think that time I feel like I was like kind of like flashing back to like a bunch of other moments like in more detail, and like it actually did feel like I could feel the anxiety like come back a little bit, like a little bit of just like, you know, self-doubt. A lot of that, a lot of got brought up of
Mhm.
like, am I doing this the right way? Am I doing
Yeah,
this in a way that is helpful? Like, yeah, a lot of.
totally. Yeah, totally normal for that to come up. Mind if we so an EMDR session would look just like that, like amplifying a lot of those anxious thoughts, being curious and like unjudgmental about where they're coming from, potential sources, exploring that. I mean, there's just endless material when you use like free association. So, let's skip ahead. Let's say like we've done a few sessions about a particular instance and we feel like the anxiety has gotten better. A lot of the self-doubt that's coming up it's eased because we've experienced it over and over. We put ourselves back in the past. We've done some physical movements that help. And by the way, like a little aside, if we're uncomfortable doing the eye movements, there's tapping, like we said. A lot of people associate EMDR with the paddles.
Mm.
So you hold two paddles in your hand and they vibrate. They oscillate the vibrations between your hands. So like when I do the eye movements, I get like super motion sick, like because I'm feeling a lot of anxiety and I feel like I'm about to puke. So like having the eye movements does not help me. So I use the paddles and I close my eyes. And I find that that really helps more things come up without me obviously thinking about not puking. Uh, my therapist is always really nice of like, here's a trash can. Um, but some therapists are not nice about letting you use the paddles, but I think most of them are turning on to the paddles. So like the next thing after this, saying that we got the SUD score down from feeling like we're a lot less paranoia now, we have a lot less paranoia now, is trying to replace that belief, like an installation phase of replacing the belief with the adaptive one of I have my community behind me. I have autonomy. I am safe. So the next phase that we would go to is imagine that situation with someone kicking your door down, and then try to implement, so you're back there in the past, but imagine yourself feeling, I have my community. Sometimes that can mean imagery coming behind you. What would it look like if you were safe? What would it feel like if you were safe? And we just imagine that. And this would be after a certain number of sessions before we get the anxiety down. And then we're just installing this new belief. So you want to run through on that?
Yeah, sure. Or I mean, I
We'll
think
do
we can
one more.
also, I think we can also like zoom out a little bit too, and just kind of like talk about like
Yeah.
uh like what keeps people from going to therapy and like seeking this stuff out, and like, you know, how burnout like and not being gentle with ourselves like leads to negative outcomes, especially in
Yeah.
like, you know, important work like we do.
Yeah. Absolutely. You want like my thoughts on that?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well,
Or
yeah,
if
like,
like
or just like how like I think, I guess if I could put it into like question form, is like,
hmm.
why is like decompression a necessary strategy in like activism, and why is it like, why is it like a necessary thing for like every person that does this work to like invest in like ways that we can recharge and decompress and like process these things we're experiencing.
Yeah, that's really good. I think that you see like in any job that includes trauma is like you said earlier, there's like a huge amount of burnout because it's traumatic. You don't want to be on the street watching people being taken from their families. Like that's we have empathy for that. Um you want to keep that reticent in your mind because that's why you're doing the important work. You're trying to stop that trauma from taking place. And just like a first responder, EMT, or firefighter, you know, you don't want to stop losing the feeling for those people. So everyone that's worked in like a traumatic job like that, you know, veterans that are just emotionally dead, and they almost walk into situations expecting the worst outcome. If you walk into a situation always expecting the worst outcome and holding like a core belief of like bad things are going to happen today. I know bad things are going to happen. I'm going to make myself emotionally dead to that. Then frequently that can be like a self-fulfilling prophecy. I'm not saying like a horoscope, like you're manifesting a bad day. I'm saying like you will go into the situation and your attitude will make it worse because you are less empathetic. You will make other people around you less safe by not having the empathy, showing up as a concerned person. If you just act like it's another day and you're emotionally dead, then people are not going to be as helped by you. You need to be able to be there and be present and feel. However, you also have to be very aware of how something is taking a toll on you emotionally. So that's why, like, and this goes back to like exploitation of labor is like employers don't give a fuck about that. They don't
Yep.
care if you're emotionally dead. They're going to keep throwing you back into the same situation over and over and over. It's why we know so many people that are like that. So in a situation where like you're doing rapid response, you can't help but put yourself in a traumatic situation. We need to have more empathy for other people that need breaks, that need a emotional come down to use their coping strategies to try to flush a lot of this trauma out. But because of this history and the situation, the capitalistic situation that we've been born under and raised in, we look at people that take breaks and we're like, there's something wrong with you. You don't want to do the work. You're not as good of a leftist. You're not as good of an activist. You need to step into the fire. And that's totally not true. We're not trying to, in my opinion, we are not trying to create a world that looks like that again. We're trying to have empathy for victims and for ourselves that are doing the work. So just a shift in attitude that we all do need to take breaks to not emotionally deaden ourselves to this trauma.
Yeah. Also, I often talk about on my stream that like, you know, there is like a I don't know, like at least personally for me, if I am not organizing and if I'm not like in community with other people and if the only way I'm engaging with this like horrific world that we live in is through the internet and through like Twitter and all these like these outlets where you feel like you're getting informed, or you feel like you're doing something, or you're debating somebody on Facebook or something, like like if that's the only way that I'm engaging with the world, I like start to turn resentful. I turned like it starts to like be a super negative thing. And to me, like actually being in community and putting it into real work is where like that's where I recharge. That is where I recharge, where I like get my hope. And I feel like especially for like Twitch chat, a lot of people are maybe not like they don't have that like that action that or that community of people really that can like reaffirm that your beliefs and that you're not like alone in feeling this way. You're not alone in your outrage, and you're not alone in your like discontent with the world, right? So
Mhm.
yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Goes back to your point of like being isolated. It's like I think touching grass is a really good word of advice. So like, yeah, I recharge doing therapy, talking to people that don't have my worldview and understanding them within their context. Now there's like definitely people that go out and they enact violence on people, and it's never okay. But I have a foundational belief that no one is irredeemable and everyone does have a potential of positive change. And that's a part of like me being an abolitionist, and foundational to me, like me having a leftist worldview, is knowing that like I have so many people that are like, being in Iowa, I have a lot of people that are like union blue collar workers, but they support Trump and they're right wing. It's just a thing that happens. It's like very common. But literally just using self advocacy, you're helping them live a better life, and then introducing them to be like, hey, these have elements of leftism. This has elements of socialism. Going out and supporting someone that doesn't have your best interest in mind might not be the best decision, but you're understanding them within their context. And I know that there's a lot of people that they go to the heuristic of these people are irredeemable. These people are, and I'm not saying to go out and extend a cross to these people and like go out and give them an olive branch. I'm not saying that if they're enacting violence, you can defend yourself. I'm saying that it's foundational within leftism to have empathy for others and really go out and connect with people. Do not isolate yourself on the internet. It's not good for you.
True. Well, do you mind, can we do like 10 minutes of questions from chat, or is that
Yeah,
okay?
no problem.
Okay, cool. Chat, drop your questions. Let's see, do you have
Chat.
any do you have any
I'm so
questions
excited.
for our guest, for Ian? Anything that you want to talk about or learn about while we have Ian here? And this is the awkward moment where they all forget that they
Yeah.
were watching a stream, and
Yeah.
somebody said thank you for your
Understandable.
time.
Thank you. Thank you for watching. I'm in chat with you, so
Somebody said, have you worked with brain spotting?
I have worked with brain spotting. It's kind of related. It has to do with, again, saccadic eye movements. Works really well for people. I actually had like one time I was doing brain spotting with a therapist and I like broke out into tears for no reason. Again, I'm not like a woo woo guy, but if you have exposure to therapy, it has to do with um, paying attention to how you perceive the world when you're in a mode of trauma. So, anyway, I could go down the rabbit hole on that, but focusing your eye into a field of view and then thinking about a traumatic moment can actually help reorient yourself to like a moment of safety, like
Hmm.
moving your eyes. People have studied like where your eyes go when you feel powerless. A lot of people like look down and to the right. Again, like not asking everyone to believe this, but it like has had an effect on me. And then moving your field of vision to a place that feels more orienting, more grounding, and then reprocessing the trauma. But has a lot of things in common with EMDR. I it,
Interesting.
I like, yeah, I encourage everyone to just try out different things. Find a form of therapy that works for you. Shop around.
Um, what schooling do you have to do what you do?
Yeah, I have a master's degree, Master of Science from Drake University here in Des Moines. I got my undergrad at ISU. Go Cyclones!
I actually went to a football game at
Hell yeah, Jack Trice.
we had
Only stadium,
they jingle the keys.
yeah, only stadium named after a African American player.
Oh,
By the
that's
way,
interesting.
in the United States, yeah, he was killed in a racist attack in Minnesota
Oh
back in
my
the day.
god.
Yep,
That's horrifying.
interesting little tidbit of history.
I did not know that. Um
Yep.
wow, that's really interesting. I this is a good question. What do you think that what should people be looking for when they're looking for a therapist? Like how should what advice would you give to somebody to like choosing a therapist?
Gosh, good question. You're allowed to trust your gut. A lot of times it's hard. Like I think I saw maybe 3 or 4 therapists before I really found people that connected. You're looking for people that it feels like they really empathize with you and understand. And um, it doesn't feel like you're holding back. So when I tell any potential client is don't be a helper when you're in therapy. Don't help me do my job better. I want to get the authentic you. So a therapist that helps you be authentic and you're not scared to talk about things. You know, there can be something triggering within a certain kind of therapist of a certain demographic. Like, yeah, I could go on that forever as well. But find someone that you feel like you can be the most honest with, and you leave there feeling safe. But it's hard to judge that just from like an online profile. You know, you got to
Yeah,
talk to them
totally.
for a little bit.
I've gone to a lot of different therapists in my day, and I will say that I think like uh one thing that definitely like tells me I'm not really gonna get much out of a therapist is like a feeling of judgment, any kind of feeling of judgment,
Yep.
and it could be from them or it could be just totally from me. But like either
Yep.
way, if I feel like I'm being judged, like I'm just like, yeah, this probably is not gonna work out. Like because I need to be honest and like, yeah, you're 100%
Yeah.
right.
Unconditional positive regard is not enough in the world.
Yeah,
By the way, any parents out there, I always give the advice is the only responsibility you have as a parent is to love your kids. There's not a whole lot of that. I definitely grew up being endlessly judged, and it stunted my emotional growth. So teach your kids that they can make mistakes. Teach your community members, people around you, that they can make mistakes and still feel unjudged and loved at the end of the day.
yeah. Well, Ian, thank you so much for coming on. I want to give you the opportunity to like, if you want to shout yourself out or shout out any, I don't know, if you got a Twitter or whatever you want to plug,
Oh,
it's all you.
I don't want people to watch my stream. I don't stream. I actually don't stream often at all. But yeah,
You
my
don't want people to
my
watch your
name is
stream?
yeah. It's embarrassing. It's
Well,
not therapy me. Okay, I have different versions of me that show up. Stream me is me dissociated. So I don't stream often. I think the last time I streamed was like 2 months ago. I got affiliate so I could add a Che Guevara emote, and then I stopped streaming. So I have a Che Guevara emote if you subscribe to me. No, I think it's actually a follower emote. But I would just say if you're in central Iowa, hit me up. I want cool ass leftist uh, clients that want to
there we
heal
go.
because there's not a whole lot of them. So my name is Ian Adams. Uh, that's my full name. I'm giving it out on the internet. You can look me up on Psych Today. Uh,
You're getting some
Thank
followers
you all for
now.
the follows. Yeah, I can hear the notifications. Uh,
We see them on
because I have
on your screen too.
yeah, I have like a virtual I have the virtual camera up on OBS, so I have it up. Thanks for the follows, guys. But um but yeah, if you're in central Iowa, go ahead and give me a shout. I have a bunch of other people in my practice that are really cool. I have some students that were where I was that are in desperate need of more people. But I think that it's, you know, a lot of people are becoming more isolated, a lot more. They think they're getting therapy online from their community when sometimes your community doesn't have your best interest at heart. So please don't bottle your emotions up. go to therapy, talk to somebody. I would love to see you. Yeah, that's all I want to shout out is if you don't live in central Iowa, just find a therapist near you.
Okay. We do have one more person that. Wait, Uneven Mars, did you already put up your question or you're type it now? Look with Disruptor. Thank you so much for the 5 gifted. You've been so generous tonight. Thank you.
Shout out supporters of the stream.
Yeah, you guys rule. Uneven Mars, do you have where's your question? I'll hold them to ask it. But
yeah. Also, if anyone ever has any questions about therapy, just DM me. I love talking about that stuff. Easier for me to type it out than talk. I am a millennial.
Oh, I work in child psych, and I was wondering if EMDR works with children as well.
Yeah, the proponents of EMDR would say that. Definitely. I haven't done EMDR with children myself. I see adolescents and above. But with young kids, there can be forms of EMDR that can definitely help them, especially EMD, because it's hard for them to really become conscious and have those like core negative beliefs. But you can still work with kids and do bilateral stimulation. You can do play therapy. You know, again, it's just a tool in your toolbox. But a lot of kids can actually, you'd be surprised how smart kids are and how much healing they can do. So I just say, like, if you're a therapist, you know, give it a try, get yourself trained. You don't have to pay as much money as I did, you know. You can, I'll send you the book.
Yeah, perfect. Exactly.
Yeah.
I need to do more. Like,
yeah, just DM me and I'll help you.
Yeah. Okay. Well, thank you so much. I appreciate you coming on, and this was really great. So thank you so much.
Hey.
You got a great,
I kind of threw
great
shit
vibe
at the wall, but that's what people tell me. They're like, "Hey, you're just like a cool stoner dude." So, but I don't smoke weed. But yeah, man. Shout out to my cousin, Brett.
Yeah. Well, if you're ever in KC,
right.
hit me up, and I'll do the same if I'm in Iowa or something.
Absolutely, man. I would like. Yeah, I'm tired of Iowa. Anyway. All right. See you around, maybe. Have a great rest of your stream, man.
Yeah, appreciate it. Take care.
All right. Peace.
Ian. Everybody clap for Ian right now. Do it. Clap for Ian. I hope that gave you some skills and some new ways to, or at least maybe some new things you can ask your therapist about, or you can seek out therapy if you feel like that would be helpful for you. You know? And we got to take care of each other. It's not an option. It's not optional. We must take care of each other. We must build like radical spaces of emotional support. We must build like, spaces of care and compassion and love. Like it's not optional. It's not, unfortunately. It's actually a big part of the revolution. You know? I'm not gonna lie, chat. I feel kind of like I'm kind of done tonight. I feel like that was really good. I think maybe I just want to go offline and go lay on a couch. Yeah, I'm EP too. I don't know. I feel like it worked. Yeah, maybe. But I think I will be live tomorrow night, especially maybe even early if Hassan is banned. I got to take advantage of that. No, I'm just kidding. But yeah, we'll be back. I think we can definitely do more politics tomorrow because I have time for it, and there's no reason not to. And there's a lot of politics to talk about. So I didn't get to half of the stuff that I wanted to today. So we'll do that tomorrow night. I also have I've been kind of like cooking and building a bunch of videos because literally just because I miss Vietnam. I kind of just want to do like a I miss Vietnam stream where we just like watch videos about Vietnam and the language and the history and stuff like that.